Last night at 6 o'clock, it said Hurricane Lala. This morning it's Tropical Storm Lala. That storm weakened, but nonetheless proved to be exactly what we said it would be. This was a very strong wind event. Yes, we had rain, we had water, not much flooding, a couple of places, but for the most part, we were really blessed that we weren't really dealing with that much of an issue. But we had lots of trees down. You're going to get the details on this, and the purpose of this is to give you as much information from as many sources as we have. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the incredible preparation that went into this event. As we told you, the city would be prepared. We wanted everybody to take comfort in that. So I want to thank all of our first responders, especially. An incredible job last night. And even though we're not quite out of this yet, I feel comfortable in saying that because their work was on full display for everybody, and anybody out there could see that. Also, all of our city workers, everybody rallied. We had people at the shelters. Everybody was on board, and we did everything we could. And I especially want to acknowledge those people who heeded our warnings. Now, there were a lot of people still out last night, but for the most part, traffic was greatly reduced, and it helped us help you, if you will. So, great deal of appreciation with that. Look, this is an event that is proven to be exactly what we told you it would be. It's a fast-moving storm. We hope we're here in Oahu by the end of this afternoon, maybe even a little bit earlier. It will be well past us. But nonetheless, we have a lot of repair work in front of us. So that said, I want to bring up the governor, who's been a great partner always, but through this storm here. And then you're going to hear from the rest of our, if I would call them subject matter experts, but we're anxious to share this information with you. Governor Green.
Aloha, everyone. I have a couple of visuals, too. First and foremost, many thanks to the mayor and his team here on Oahu. Like he said, their preparation was impeccable. That saves lives. And you'd be amazed what one tree on a road can do if it's not tended to and cause a multi-car accident. Them being out there, them being aware of where the storm is going to be incredibly important. I'm going to talk a lot about Big Island today also. Incredible appreciation for Mayor Alameda, also Mayor Bisson. Big Island and Maui took the brunt of it, of course, because it was briefly Hurricane Lala, and now it is Tropical Storm Lala. It was a hurricane force storm as it was passing South Point. So let's talk about exactly what we have here. So Tropical Storm Lala at 5 a.m., this is what it looked like, okay? It was like about 140 miles away from us, and it just, you know, it's moving west-northwest now. It skirted the islands except for hitting the South Point area, which is where I was a physician for many years. So I'm very familiar with that Kau district, Waihinu, Naalehu, Pahala. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Let me just say this. The heroic actions on Big Island of Mayor Alameda and his team were something special. They saved lives. They were able to pull an elderly woman out of a tree when her house washed away. Okay, so when you look at that, the storm is moving 14 miles an hour. It is brisk, certainly faster than Mayor Rick or I can run, and it's going off, which is a good thing. This is what it looks like as far as now. This is the trajectory. In this yellow area, well, you see it's now past the Big Island. And having moved past the Big Island, they are now digging out. He's going to share at 12 o'clock, Mayor Alameda is, a press conference that details some of the specific damage that's been done in that area. I'll touch on a few of those things. Again, just wonderful work by his team. They had to dig deep. They, I think I said, flew over this morning. They did a dawn flyover, and you will hear, now that it's a tropical storm and passing, what it was like when it was a full hurricane. There was a river of water that went through Naalehu. It has washed away quite a lot. Now, the severe flooding, this is kind of what that looks like. That's a road that's collapsed and a small waterfall that has already occurred off of that road. Mayor will share with you that a number of bridges, those smaller bridges that connect, you know, the great metropolis of Volcano down to Naalehu, right? Those little bridges, when they get damaged, people can't get in and out. Sometimes we have to go through ranches to get people in and out. There's a little hospital down there, which I took call for many years in the call room there, isolated. They lost power to those small hospitals, but we have generators. So everyone is safe and healthy, but boy, a lot of work ahead. You can also be sure that when you have 28 inches of rain, they had 28 inches of rain in some areas, there's just going to be a ton of landslides on the Big Island. Again, our team, Ed Sniffen, with his county team, just like Ed Sniffen with the mayor's team here, they're out and about moving all that debris. But you're going to continue to hear about loss of power. We'll get more updates for you on that, but about 200,000 individual households lost power, and it's going to take time for HECO to get that back online. I believe we were flying some of their personnel over to Big Island to get them there. The other things that you need to know, don't take it for granted yet today, as Mayor said, there's still winds out there, and one big gust can move a large vehicle around. That's why they're very smart to suspend some of the bus work. We just can't have those kind of accidents. You'll get more from our experts on that. This is what the rainfall looked like. It was actually 32 inches of rain in La Pahoehoe. 32 inches of rain. Unbelievable. And, you know, in a short period, just a few hours when that happens, they were getting 2 inches of rain per hour. That means all kinds of damage. And frankly, that's going to be major recovery. I was on the phone with Senator Schatz this morning. I was also communicating with Secretary Mullen, the Homeland Security Director, and they've become very familiar with us after the Kona lows. You know, the volcano erupted last week, though it stayed intact in the park. We have all kinds of issues that have been occurring. There was a little earthquake off the coast of Ka'u last week. These things keep happening, and in Washington, D.C., they don't even know what we're talking about sometimes when we tell them all these things happen, but when they saw these pictures, they knew. Here's the illustration very quickly of the inches of rain. You know, apologize for the small print, but it tells you that, you know, in many places it was over 2 feet of rain. And so what you'll hear from Mayor Alameda is, number one, 100 houses or more are damaged and lost. Thank God it appears that no one died. There was one car accident, which we're not sure if it was completely connected to the storm or not, but I got to tell you, if you're out driving around in a storm with winds and rain like that, really turn around, go home, because it's dangerous, and one accident can then lead to many others, as the police and fire and EMS guys will tell you. This is just the outlook. It basically says that a little bit more activity today, and then tomorrow we should be fine. Not really going to be too much of a problem except for the rebuild. All airports are essentially open, but we've had a lot of flights canceled. 52 cancellations statewide for Hawaiian Airlines today. They paused until 10 a.m. just now for reassessment. Honolulu's open. 2 of the 4 runways are operational. Lanai air flights before 10 a.m. were canceled. Yesterday, I believe we had 190 flights that were paused or canceled, so people are going to be catching up on their travel. The harbors were closed. They're now beginning to reopen. Honolulu Harbor, I'll let, again, our experts dive into that, but the harbors are good. They haven't sustained too much damage. This is the highway closures, and you can see Highway 11, the road that goes down from Hilo down to the south, had many, many different areas that were closed. So it's going to take time to reconstruct that. So people should know that it's going to be difficult to get kids to school. We'll make some comments more about that. We're going to have to repair Na'alehu School. This in the wake of having to repair the other school, which was Kona Waina, which was badly, badly damaged in the Kona low. So a lot of school work's going to happen, but we're going to assess all these roads. Maui also got hit pretty hard too. Mayor and I can share with you, nothing as bad as the southern part of the Big Island. Just to give you a little idea of how we're operationalizing this, we have 226 National Guard on the job. Many thanks to General Logan and his whole team. We will send more. I've also been in touch with people that are at Pohakuloa. The feds, the military there, are going to be more than willing to help us. We'll probably use their aid to get there. We've had a bunch of high water vehicles here. Mayor and his team requested them. Of course, we'll always do that. They had them saving lives down in Na'alehu. And then finally, these are just some of the contacts, which you know. Please, if you have any questions, go to these websites and we can share information with you imminently. I'll just summarize by saying this. The mayors have been phenomenal. They really know their game. They know how to run a response, probably because we've had too many of these storms and tragedies. And we continue to rebuild on top of other crises. We're just 3 years out from the fire, and they're still rebuilding that city over in Lahaina. And so when you get runoff and these big storms, it's challenging. But everyone kind of pulled together. These mayors, the people everywhere, and that's why we don't see a lot of loss of life. Money we can come up with. We can fix things. We can find our way. But it's the loss of life that we always worry about most. So thank you, everyone, for being so responsible. And now as this storm moves away, we rebuild. Aloha.
I just want to comment on what the governor just said. It's not so much about the frequency of these events. It's because of the expertise of our first responders and the leadership. I could not be any more proud of a group of people here who really know what to do and when to do it. Although he's new, I think he's quickly proven to all of us this is a man who knows his business. I want to bring up Chief David Lazar to kick it off with our first responders and what's happened on Oahu.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Aloha, everyone. You know, I just want to start out by saying I want to thank the incredible men and women of the Honolulu Police Department that did really courageous work last night, having to deal with a whole host of issues. You know, our members responded to 248 calls for service related to the storm. If you think about the floods and trees being down and electrical problems with the electricity and just the freeway issues and all those things that they did, just really good heroic work, and I'm just very grateful for what they did. The other thing that happened last night, we had one of our sergeants that was injured as a result of trying to move a tree on the Pali Highway, received some stitches above his eye, got sutured up and is back to work because we still have a lot of work to do. So very thankful for them. Grateful for our first responder partners. As I mentioned to all of you earlier, we had a joint operations center that was set up. The collaboration and communication amongst the fire department and EMS and ocean safety and DLE and all of our partners in public safety couldn't have gone any better, and that really contributed to us being successful. In addition to working closely with our EOC, the mayor, his leadership, the entire team. That's why we were successful last night, and it's not over yet. You know, I had the opportunity to ride around in District 5 about an hour ago just to assess what is happening. We have a lot of traffic lights are out. So remember, let's treat those traffic lights when they're out like stop signs. If you don't have to be out this morning, don't be out. Make sure that we wait. Let's get through this storm. Let's get some things cleaned up. Let's get the lights back on. But we want people to be very careful. We're grateful for the National Guard, our partnership. And Governor, I know you mentioned the National Guard. We thank you for your support there. 10 vehicles that were ready to go in the event that we needed to get to areas that were flooded in partnership with HPD officers. That was a great plan. That'll be a plan that we use moving forward. We had 2 that were specifically staged, ready to go. And thankfully, no really need to use them, but we're still on standby because we're not quite out of this storm just yet. A couple of notable incidents I want to mention. I'm looking at my notes. So just 4 areas. We had full closure of the Pali Highway due to downed trees. We had a closure of Woodlawn Drive in Manoa. We had closures in Waikiki, including the Royal Hawaiian Avenue and Kuhio Avenue. And then Kahikiri Highway closure in Kaneohe was closed as well. Those were some of the more significant issues that we had to deal with overnight. So very thankful for everyone and happy to take questions a little later. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Kalani Hall, Fire Department.
Aloha, good morning. Kalani Hall, Fire Chief of the Honolulu Fire Department. So throughout the passage of this Lala storm event, our Honolulu Fire Department personnel have been working continuously along with all of our partners to protect life and property around the island. So I'd like to take this time to provide an operational snapshot of all of the storm-related incidents that we responded to from 0700 yesterday to 9:30 hours today. So we responded to a total of 629 calls. Of those, 147 are downed trees, 66 blown roofs, 29 down power lines, 16 water evacuations or storm-related water events, 3 building fires, 1 high-angle rescue is a rescue that I mentioned yesterday, and also a swimmer rescue out in the ocean yesterday. With that being said, we still, as of 9:30 hours yesterday, this morning, there was still 130 still active. So it's still busy out there. The weather is still unfavorable, but our personnel are continuously out there with our partners addressing all of these incidents. So with that being said, we highly encourage the public, all of you, stay home, stay off of the roadways, so it can allow all of our partners and first responders to address all of these incidents. I want to put emphasis on 2 incident types because they are highly avoidable. Stay out of our waterways, the ocean and streams, and please do not go hiking because, again, these are very avoidable situations and we don't want to divert all of our resources to handle things that are completely avoidable. And again, thank you for all of our firefighters and first responders for showing up for work and continuing to work in these hazardous conditions, and all of our partners, and special thanks to our family members at home because we won't be able to protect our island family without their love and support and them holding down the fort at home. So aloha. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Our Ocean Safety Chief, Kurt Lager.
Good morning, Kurt Lager, Chief of the Honolulu Ocean Safety Department. Just to provide an update what Ocean Safety is doing today, because of the weather and the strong winds we were seeing this morning, we decided to take a posture where we're going to be in a mobile response mode. What that means is all the lifeguard towers around the island are shuttered, and that's for a couple different reasons, mostly employee safety. The towers are only rated to a certain amount of wind. We are on duty, we are available to respond to 911 calls, and we do have personnel on standby. We are anticipating, as the weather improves, that we will open towers. In fact, I just got a message that the lifeguard towers in Waikiki should be opening about 10:30 this morning. With that being said, I also want to echo it's not a day to come down to the beach. Even as the weather improves, there's still a lot of hazards that exist in the ocean, not to mention strong currents and rough surf, but there was a lot of rain, so we have an island-wide brown water advisory. So we're strongly encouraging to have everyone stay home. It's not a day to come to the beach, but we will be there to respond to any emergencies as they arise. A huge mahalo to our lifeguards and all the other first responder agencies and DEM for all the coordination, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Ian Santi, Deputy Director of EMS.
Hi, good morning again. Ian Santi, Deputy Director, Honolulu Emergency Medical Services. Again, we really want to encourage the public to stay off the road and not go out if you don't have to. As the chiefs have said before me and the governor and the mayor, you know, there's a lot of trees down, there's a lot of incidents that are happening. You know, our first responders are out there, our EMS personnel, we thank you very much for coming to work and being there, again, in these treacherous conditions. Since yesterday, from Friday midnight to 9 o'clock this morning, we responded to 408 calls. Of that 408 calls, more than 200 of those people were transported to the hospital. Of that, we had 35 traffic accidents. 9 of them just happened from midnight till 9 a.m. this morning. So again, the lights are out. We want to make sure that you don't have to be out there. Don't be out there. Our core team assisted with 21 people and getting them into shelter also. So again, your safety is very important to us, but our personnel safety is important. So if you don't have to be out, we don't want to be out there if you don't have to be out there. So please stay off the roads and take care of yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ewan. So, as I said earlier, even though we anticipated a strong wind event, you never really know exactly what that's going to mean and how it manifests itself. So I want to go back about the amount of power outages. At one point here in Oahu, we had more than 200,000 homes without power. As we went into this press conference this morning, we were told that number was now down to about 130,000. But as was pointed out, when those power failures happen, they also impact very vital things like traffic lights, as was said. That's why we want to keep people off the roads. That could be highly dangerous, as you know. It also affects our pumps at the water station. So this morning in a conversation with Ernie Lau, who runs our Board of Water Supply, we were asking for people to conserve water because not all of our pumps are functioning right now. There's only so much in the tanks, as people need to be mindful of that and what can happen. So the other thing I should mention, and maybe it goes without saying, but our golf courses are closed today. The zoo is closed today. We're going to limit the activities. I don't think we officially ever really closed the parks, but there are no scheduled activities at the parks. And we're just asking people, even though we're really close to getting out of this, to stay cautious. The last thing I want to say is that what I'm most grateful for is pretty much the same way we came out of the Kona lows, even though that was a very different storm. The fact that, as of this morning, to the best of my knowledge, no one has died. We did discover a body up by Kalihi Stream. It's being determined right now as to whether or not that happened before the storms. It looks like it might have. If that's the case, so be it. And if it's not, then we'll count that as somebody that perhaps drowned during the storm. We don't know that for certain. But again, I credit our first responders, also credit the public for listening to us, but our first responders just did a great job. As you just heard those numbers from our fire department, our police department, from EMS, from what Kurt is doing down at the ocean, that's an incredible effort. And it was all designed to protect and save people's lives. So I want to thank everybody. We're going to get through this. Hopefully we're a few hours away. And with that, I think I want to turn it over to questions. And we have a whole lot of people here. Oh, I want to bring up Randy. I forgot. Forgive me. I want him to finish up because he's going to give the summation. Dr. Randy Collins, our Director of Emergency Management. I'm sorry, Randy.
Sure.
Aloha. As he said, I'm going to be providing a summation, but first and foremost, I'd like to tell you that as the lead emergency management official for the island of Oahu, the mayor and the governor have been very gracious in their appreciation and gratitude for the first responders and all the city employees that it takes to set up this level of preparation for this kind of storm. I would like to tell you, with all the disaster I've seen over my 30 years, that I've never seen the level of leadership and collaboration between the jurisdictions the way that I see out of these two leaders. Without question, they're always providing all the resources that are asked for. They don't play politics. They don't talk about the money. They just get it done. And so I really appreciate their leadership. So on behalf of all the first responders and the city employees, thank you both for that level of leadership. The second thing I'd like to mention is, as you've already heard many times, the storm is not over. So there's still a tropical storm warning through the end of today. We also have a flood watch in effect, as well as a high surf warning for the east-facing shores. So please continue to stay vigilant throughout the day and continue to stay safe in your various activities. Many casualties often happen after the disaster. So often we think about the casualties that come during the actual threat, but as people are cleaning things up, they're working with heavy equipment, chainsaws, generators, they're working around down power lines and so forth. That's when the casualties come. So I just want to encourage everyone, as they are cleaning up, to ensure that you are doing so in a safe manner, that you know how to use the equipment and use it properly, and that you're using the proper protective equipment in the course of your activities, and stay safe, prevent those casualties from happening. Power outages, power lines, trees are still down. So those are some things we want to keep an eye on as you move about your day. Please stay vigilant, and we've heard of accidents already, people driving into trees and down power lines and so forth. So we want you to remain vigilant in that. I also want to reinforce what the mayor talked about. The Board of Water Supply has asked for residents to limit their water use, and so please conserve water for the time being until the system can be fully restored. And lastly, as we transition into recovery, one of the first things that we're going to want to do is damage assessment. So the responders are going to go out and be doing windshield assessments as soon as all their life-saving activities are done and as soon as the threat is over. But the other thing that is happening is we just launched our damage assessment tool. It is a self-survey, if you will, and it really helps us to understand where all the damage has occurred. It is only for the island of Oahu, but want to share that information with you. It's at you can find it at honolulu.gov/home damage. Honolulu.gov/home damage. Please go there and share your information with us so that we can assess what kind of damage has happened, and then we can assess some of our next steps as a community. So please share that information with us and cooperate with us. It takes the whole community to really recover from these types of storms and these types of damages, and that's what one of the things that we're asking of you. And with that, we'll turn it over to any questions.
No, I had another oversight.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much
Yes,
for
sir.
the acknowledgement. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I said at the outset I wanted this to be an informational briefing, so forgive me. I don't know how I could overlook. I just have to say this because I overlooked him and I didn't mean to do so. I think Roger Morton is the best, not only the best transportation guy in Hawaii, but perhaps in the country. So we're really blessed to have him. Roger's going to talk about our transportation.
Aloha, Roger Morton. I'm the Director of Transportation Services. Obviously, one of the largest impacts that we've had through this storm has been damages and issues with our transportation system. Just before this press conference started, I had a list of 14 city streets that were blocked, and our city crews, most primarily from Department of Facility Maintenance, but also assisted by Parks and Recreation and Urban Forestry, are out in numbers trying to do their best to clear the streets. Our state highways, there were 5 places on our state highways, most notably Poly Highway. It's been reported to me by Ed Sniffen that the damage to Poly Highway is more than they anticipated. There are large boulders that require them to take a crane in to actually remove the boulders and load them onto trucks to get them off the hill. There was overflowing of the Kalihi stream that has deposited a lot of mud on Dillingham Boulevard, which makes it impassable. And our crews, again, are striving to do it. This has had an impact also on our public transportation systems, primarily our bus service. We had planned for our bus service to begin a gradual resumption of service around 8 a.m. Our drivers mobilized at 7, but with the multiple blockages, it took us a couple more hours, and only starting at about 9:30, we started surveying individual routes that we could get to. Obviously, our Poly Highway service, our Woodlawn service, and other services will continue to be disrupted, hopefully restored sometime later in the day. Our Skyline service operated completely through the storm, shut down at its normal time at 10:30, and began service this morning at its normal time. So Skyline operated not completely without a hitch, because a wayside sign blew down during the storm, and the train ran it over. That's the first event of that kind that I have had since we started operating our Skyline service. So there was that. Our handy van service continued to operate. Yesterday, they were able to accommodate all of the reservations that our Kapuna and our disabled folks have made. This morning, our handy vans are out. Again, there are multiple places where roads are impassable right now. Our handy van are very resilient at trying to find different paths to get in. They have smaller vehicles, so it's not as much of an issue of getting trapped. There are widespread traffic signal outages throughout the city, and we have 3 crews out that are trying to restore traffic signals. If you are on the street, and my advice, like all the other first responders, is don't be on the streets. This is a day to stay home. But if you are on the streets and you encounter a traffic signal, treat it as an all-way stop. There are reports of people that are just creating unsafe situations by plowing through the traffic signal. So drive with Aloha, stay home if you can, and if you have to be on the roads, then just be very extra cautious, because there's debris, there's traffic signals out. There's just a lot of hazards on the road, and as one of my colleagues said, a lot of the accidents and the injuries that occur are post-storm. They're not during the storm, they're post-storm. With that, I think with everybody else, we're ready to...
Chief Lazar has an update, and ask him to come up.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Roger.
We just received this information in the last few minutes that we have 3 of the military vehicles that we're partnered with on the National Guard, along with HPD, are involved in a rescue right now of 2 elderly people that are trapped because of the flood. So there'll be more information on that, but we're just getting that in, and so we're able to use those vehicles. The other thing I'd like to say, and I didn't have an opportunity to say, is I also want to give a big shout out to our 911 dispatchers who worked overnight to handle all the calls that you have just heard about. Just want to thank them for what they have done and what they continue to do for the Honolulu Police Department and for our city and county. Thank you.
So before I turn over to questions and answers, questions I should say, just 2 things. One, again, an appeal to the public. You heard from several of our people here right now. It's a Sunday. Chill out, stay home, make it easy for us. Allow us to help you, okay? We've asked throughout the week in our preparation here to have the community work with us. There's a finite amount of resources. No matter how much work and how committed our men and women are to help you, that is finite. We need everybody to help us help you. So please, if you didn't do it last night, feel guilty about driving around. Stay home today. Give us a break. I'd appreciate that. And I'm not sure if I would have, in closing, another opportunity to do this, but I really want to especially acknowledge, Randy mentioned them yesterday, our incident management team that we brought in from South Carolina. They're in the room right now. There are people that our local people don't ever get to meet or whatever, but they've brought, both not only during the Kona lows, but incredible expertise to work with our team here. They've worked around the clock. It's also helped facilitate all the work we've been doing at trying to keep people safe and alive. So I want a big mahalo to you guys. Thank you for flying in here in a moment's notice. South Carolina, last time I checked, wasn't, right down the street. It's a long way to come, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. So with that, we'll answer any questions you might have. These people up here can answer anything. Go ahead. Yes.
As of yesterday, around 4 o'clock, there were about 30 people in the refuge areas across Oahu. What is the status of those shelters?
Yeah, we didn't mention those numbers today, and I was talking, you get that, Randy? Because Anton just left. He worked all night, but we have the update for you.
At my last update, excuse me. At my last update, we had 117 in shelters with 21 pets.
Yeah, we actually at one time had over 200 with the whole new, I think, in the aggregate at that.
Yes, sir. Adding into the HONU, we did have, I believe it was 257 at some point.
Maliola.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And those shelters will remain open until the threat passes, and then we'll go through a process to find suitable locations for all of the residents, and then close those shelters. But again, not until the threat is gone.
I'll add to what the city and county did. So on Big Island, you'll hear more about this from Mayor Alameda again at 12 today. 215 individuals on Big Island were in shelters, and we had 6 patients, 6 individuals that had serious or critical health issues that were held in those facilities because we were unable to transport people. We are arranging right now that transport. One person had some critical cardiac issues, and we're caring for them.
And again, when you talk about opening up shelters, that's one of those things you really can't predict the number. The thing I felt really good about, and from lessons learned during the Kona Lows, was we went into this opening 8 shelters at 8 a.m. yesterday, fully staffed with police, both from the Sheriff's Department and from HPD, making sure people would be safe. We welcomed people with pets and everything else. So just having that resource available for people also for us was comforting, because we never knew where whomever would be impacted, knowing that that resource was there. So I care more about that than the actual number that showed up. Anybody else? Darrell.
With this reported fatality in Kalihi Stream area, it just is a reminder that there's all these people living along the streams. And is it time to be a little, we do this every time, is it time to be a little more proactive about not allowing people to get comfortable around the streets?
Well, that's a good point. I think, look, we talked earlier in the week, and we were out there. We actually had a couple of buses going. We were out there trying to collect as many homeless people as we could. In fact, quite honestly, that's why we opened up the 8 shelters. I was convinced that most local people would probably, if they felt they were in a flood-prone zone, I'll get that out, that they would go with family and friends, and they would relocate, okay? A lot of those shelters was designed for that purpose, and just the way we staffed it as well, including allowing them to take pets. Darrell, as you know, we got a couple thousand people out there, that were unsheltered, and, we just couldn't get enough done that way. But I don't disagree with you, and perhaps it looks like this situation could repeat itself again. We'll be more sensitive to that, because clearly they're in danger.
Yeah,
Governor?
I think this is a good opportunity to speak to something special that the mayor has done, which is the CORE program. I know that people are still trying to wrap their minds around how you look at a program like that is essentially new. It's a new approach. It worked. They took 20 people with CORE, I believe, just yesterday in partnership with June Yang and our team to the Kauhales, to the respite centers. It is necessary. Otherwise, dozens of people could end up in perilous situations, which would have then occupied the entirety of the EMS system and getting people over to the hospitals. So that works. It is hard to have a program this new to be analyzed in traditional ways. The answers are there. The fact that no one died on the street during a storm of this magnitude, that we had places to actually take people, it's a big difference. And everyone should remember that unsheltered homelessness dropped 20% over the last about 2 years on Oahu. It dropped 90% in Waikiki over these last 2 years. That is a solution that advanced this. And also, I believe that our teams worked hard to remove those individuals that were living in that encampment along the stream over the last few months. I mean, so these are things that have been in evolution, just like cleaning out the stream beds that the city and county and the state has been doing, for example, in Manoa. We would have had one hell of a lot more flooding if they weren't already doing these things now. So it's a new era, guys. We're addressing homelessness differently. We're addressing the climate impact circumstances more aggressively. Otherwise, we would be seeing much worse damage. So prevention is our approach.
Reed.
with these storms, hitting these metropolis areas, Honolulu, one of the more densely populated areas, we also think about places like Hanalei, Hana on Maui, and even parts of North Shore. So, we talked about, and then Chief Lazar talked about some of these rescues that we're making. Where are those trapped residents, so to speak? What communities are maybe cut off from the resources that all of our EMS crews are talking about?
Good question. Who among you would like to take a shot at that? Chief Lazar, Chief Howell?
Well, I'll start by saying that the rescue for right now is at North Shore, north of Kaneohe. And if we think about what happened for the Kona Lows, it was the North Shore and it was on the north side. And that's why the strategy was different. I give a big shout out to our major, Cliff Ramson, who oversees our major events division, thinking forward about let's have the National Guard assist us with vehicles that we don't have, so that we could be strategically located in places that when the flood does come, we're there, we're ready to assist. And it was because of that forward thinking and that leadership is the reason we're able to do what we're able to do today. And every opportunity is an opportunity to learn and be better and grow. And from what I understand, I wasn't here back in March, I'm here now. We're getting better and better and better on our responses because we know that this is not going to be the end for us having to respond. Thank you.
Reed, towards that end, I've done some interviews the last several days with national media. There's a phenomenon about being island dwellers, and that when we face adversity like this and storms and the unpredictability of all, we can't move people. Perhaps in a tsunami, we can move people to higher ground. But in these situations, you never really know what part of the island, who's going to get cut off. When these storm systems pass, given our topography and hitting those mountain ranges and everything, things get wildly unpredictable. And so, yes, we're kind of understand on certain levels, certain communities elsewhere. But honestly, as we went into this, you heard me talk about it, this was an island-wide wind event. We had to prepare ourselves for almost anybody, anywhere. And that's kind of the sense of responsibility you have with it. So yes, there are certain districts you want to maybe perhaps be a little bit more sensitive to, but in order to do the best job possible, it's an all hands on deck. Anything can happen anywhere at any time. And that's our approach. Yes.
There was mention that there was about 60 roofs that were blown off, and I'm curious what kind of resources are available for those residents who now their house is probably uninhabitable for them to live safely in?
Yeah, that's a great question. Governor's going to take a shot at that. Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So we have already been in collaboration with City and County having our Department of Human Services assess, and we will. We have a woman named Trista is on our team, who's one of our deputy directors of Department of Human Services. Just fantastic. So when we had the loss of so many structures on Maui, for example, from the fire, we set up housing programs. We did the same for the Kona Lows at the mayor's request. So a couple dozen families were able to have housing for a long period of time. What we'll do is we'll use our major disaster fund to immediately acquire some housing for those who can't find a place. Sometimes we do a little hotel time. We usually try to get short-term rentals for people. So we'll be doing that from this moment forward. Oahu and then the southern part of the Big Island is going to have many families that are also dislocated. Just a very short interval is, of course, in shelters, but then quickly we know they're going to need housing for a while. The usual process is they will, of course, be assessed in the next couple days. Their houses will get insurance estimates, and insurance will begin to kick in. We'll accelerate that, but it takes time to fix the houses. So we'll put people up as necessary. Some of the bases were very generous and allowed us to rent from them some housing just to get people back on their feet.
Any other questions? Yes.
I was wondering, at this point, do we have any estimate on the total number of fatalities and injuries across the state, and then the number of rescue missions that are currently?
Okay, I'll defer that question, statewide question, to the governor. She's asking about fatalities right now across the state.
Yeah. So we're praying that there are essentially no fatalities. The question is a difficult one to answer in some ways. There was a terrible car accident in Ocean View when the rains were at their heaviest. How that's ultimately characterized will be up to the local law enforcement folks. Again, you heard from the mayor that one gentleman was found deceased. Keep in mind that we often have a person found every couple days that may be houseless on the street who may have passed away. So they'll also look at that very carefully. It appears that the properties that were washed away did not, at least as of this moment, to my knowledge, have any fatalities associated with them. There were a lot of people that went to the hospital for minor accidents. But it's incredible that we had so little loss of life during the Kona lows. One person was washed away on Maui. I think no one passed away here. Amazing work on Oahu. So that's the preparation piece, and that's why I'll say it for the 50th time. Like Mayor said, don't go out, because if you're in an accident, it could occupy a lot of resources, and we can avoid those accidents today.
Forgive the ingenuity of the moment, but I'm going to hold this up, and it seems to be attached to this laptop, and I can't do it. But this is an important phone number. One of the things that we got done this time around, in addition to opening up our shelters ahead of time, was to present or provide. I'm being told, hold it higher. Is that okay? Does this work for everybody? I want people to know you can call this in non-emergency basis. We've got people working around the clock. This is a 24/7 situation. If you're in an emergency, please call 911. As you heard reported this morning, we've had lots of 911 calls. But this hotline here is opened up, and we have a number of operators there ready to take the calls. So it's not like it's a long wait or you aren't going to get anybody, and they can be very resourceful and to help direct you to any kind of non-emergency event. So, okay? Yes, Darrell.
I wonder if we could get a more specific breakdown of the roofs blown, or how many structures have actually been rendered uninhabitable is the question. I mean, partial roof blows are not usually that bad, but I'm wondering if you had structures actually destroyed.
Sorry, I don't have specific data on those structures. I know there was one in Waikiki. One of the hotels was impacted, and that forced the closure of an area in Waikiki overnight.
I think Brendan's got a number for you.
So the reports we have right now is that we have responded and documented 149 calls involving blown roofs, down trees and down power lines. So obviously there's a little bit of we have to determine, is it a tree on the house and that sort of thing. So that's one of the important reasons for that damage assessment, and sharing with us the information about or at honolulu.gov/home damage. And so if we can get that, we can get better numbers, but as of right now, we're calling it 149.
What do people get if they contribute to that database? I mean, is there also helplines that come
So this isn't registering for FEMA or anything like that. We don't have a presidential declaration, but what it does do is give us the information that we need to collect so that we can evaluate whether we do want to send up a recommendation or a recommendation for a presidential declaration, which then would turn on, if we get approved, turn on that federal assistance, which, as we all know from the Kona low, it's very crucial to get that kind of support back into Hawaii.
So that's a data point primarily to get help. That's the number, right?
This is not where you register for that, but although they can tell you where to go online to do that. They have the information on the website and so forth. But yes, it's a self-registration online at honolulu.gov/home damage.
I guess my question is, who do you call for help? If you're, other than the fire department will then hook you up with other services, or how does that work?
If you need help, 911.
If it's an emergency, call 911.
If it's emergency, call 911. Also, 211 is available, and they can also provide a lot of different assistance. If you don't know where to go, please call this number, and we're going to direct you to the right spot.
Thank you.
You know, Randy, I'm glad you mentioned that 211 too, because Michelle Bartel from the Aloha United Way wanted to stress that as well. So you've got 211, you've got 911, you have this here, 808-723-8960. I want people to feel like there is help out there. You can reach out, and we'll be able to do that. So we're going to wrap it right now. We wanted to make this as informational driven as possible. I want to thank everybody up here that spoke today, and I would be remiss in not closing out and thanking the governor, because he's been at our side the whole time. And, you know, there's nothing that I've asked him for that he hasn't said yes to, or if he can't say yes to everything, he finds a way to give us what we need. So, Gov, thank you very much. All of you, thank you for being here today. Everybody out there, stay safe. Please, if you can, stay home today. Thank you.